Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cosmic Conversations. I'm your host, Sheila Seppi, and you are watching us on the Conscious Awakening Network. Now, if you have not already signed up to be on our mailing list, please do so by going to consciousawakeningnetwork.org, or you can catch our replays on Conscious Awakening Network. You can see us on YouTube or your favorite downloadable podcasts such as Spotify, Google, Android, etc., or on our television platforms of Roku, Amazon, Apple TV, or Android TV. But you have to download the app first. So this month, my beautiful co-host is Bridget Renee Holiday. And Bridget is an international beyond quantum healing hypnotherapist. She is a channeler and a star mentor with a focus on awakening and ascension mentoring. Bridget is going to tell us a bit more about herself in just a moment and the work that she does before she introduces tonight's guest, Alex Norwood Hill. And Alex is going to talk with us about Starseed awakening and the keys to ascension. So, Bridget, hello, my dear. It is so nice to have you here.
Hello. I am so excited to be here, Sheila.
I am glad. I'm so happy. You and I have been having these conversations for what, 3 or 4 years? And I guess
hmm
you've been talking about Alex for 3 or 4 years. And so, yeah, tonight we get to meet him. So, Alex, I'm super excited that you're here. But, Bridget, before we get started, can you tell everybody just a little bit more about yourself?
Yes, well, I'm a Beyond Quantum Healing hypnotherapist and Starseed mentor, as Sheila mentioned. I also have a private community that is called Ascension Catalysts with an S. And I believe we're all Ascension Catalysts in this big, beautiful world. So, yeah, if you are curious about your starseededness, your lineages, your lives beyond Earth, I am definitely a person to dive into that with you. And yeah, anything about Ascension and Ascension mentoring. And I, of course, love Conscious Awakening Network and everything that Sheila's doing here. And I'm really excited to introduce you guys tonight to one of my most beautiful Galactic brothers. Alex is very special to my heart. I love you very much. and we have spent, I don't even know how many hours on an app called Clubhouse together and really just shining our lights and sharing codes, keys, and frequencies. And he has guided some of the most beautiful, beautiful meditations and I personally have had my own experiences in private meditation and working with Alex. I do have his bio that I'm going to read you guys, so I won't be looking at the camera for a minute because I couldn't get my tech to work to pull it up with my iPad. But I'm going to put on glasses too. But I do want you to know that when Alex speaks, feel into what he's sending. He's like light language. So when he speaks, you'll receive a ton of codes and probably activations as well when he's telling his story. So let's introduce you, Alex. Let me get this on. Um, so let's see. I pulled up the wrong one, you guys. Um, there we go. I think this is it. No, there we go. Okay, you guys. Alex is a Starseed galactic grid worker, planetary blueprinter, galactic unity ambassador, as well as an ascension guide and activator. He holds frequencies of Andromeda Galaxy, Sirius, Pleiades, Lyra, Arcturus, and Aurora. As a gifted energy and crystal healer, certified angelic Reiki master, sonic meditation facilitator, he founded Rainbow Phoenix Healing. His healing gifts focus on holistically clearing and detoxing the human energy field, deep trauma release, light body purification, and unique anti burnout protocols. We all know that is so important, guys. He expertly clears energetic blocks that hamper wellness, creativity, and abundance. Alex also offers his clients a unique energy aura reset that recharges as much as it liberates. His groundbreaking approach to healing provides an effective energetic wellness toolkit his clients can use every day, delivering 360-degree solutions to health and wellness. A leader in the Awaken Ascending Club, a global online spiritual community of 9.5 thousand members. I founded that one, you guys. Alex regularly guided powerful, high vibrational meditations and activations for 50 to 100 people. Alex is also co-lead with Pleiadean Lightworker and Galactic Priestess Inga von Strahlen on the groundbreaking Awakening New Avalon pilgrimage and retreat. This international event includes a unique set of powerful activations and Ascension grid work at the key sacred sites of the UK, the heart chakra of Gaia. Explore more about the pilgrimage. We'll put that in the chat, but it's ingavonstrahlen.nl/Avalon. And then you can also connect with Alex on his link tree. Just look him up at Alex Norwood Hill. He loves to do events, podcasts, interviews. So if you're into that, contact him there. And Alex, that was beautiful. I was reading your long bio before we got this all started, and I was like, oh, this is so fun. There's things on here that I don't even know. And I was like, I was having such a good time reading that about you. I have been waiting for you to be on Conscious Awakening Network for about 3 years now. And I've been waiting for you and Sheila to connect because I just know you guys are going to feel like your family, just like I know both of you are. Our Andromeda connections run deep. So I am so excited for you to introduce what you're doing and get into this beautiful history of Alex mixed in with star-seeded deliciousness.
Thank you, Bridget. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, everybody. It's such a pleasure and honor to be here. So, yeah, what an introduction, and yeah, I'm feeling eternally grateful for this journey and for being here and for all the support that I have along the way. And yeah, it's been an incredible ride so far, and it just keeps getting better. So. Yeah, all of the things that Bridget said are integrated into my being, and yeah, it just seems to at the moment just be magnifying and increasing in terms of the keys, codes, and frequencies, in terms of working with my star family, working with my kind of angels and guides, and various allies really along the way, and it's never been more kind of prevalent and apparent in terms of how accessible our multidimensionality is, our galactic connections. I mean, we are stepping into our true kind of Homo Galacticus being, our kind of state of being right now. And for me, it's been an incredible journey to come to that. Yeah, the reawakening, I suppose, the switching on of my my gifts, my galactic nature, my understanding who and what I am and where I've come from. So yeah, that's really what I'd like to share. So if you, Sheila, Bridget, do you want me just to kind of kick off and just get into like my journey, or are you going to read what we've said we're going to chat about? I'm totally happy however you want to do it.
I feel like just go ahead and Sheila, did you want to answer?
Oh no, I was just going to say I would love to hear all about your journey.
Okay, perfect. So that's great. So I live in the UK. But actually by birth, I am half Tunisian, so North African, and half English. So on my mother's side, the Norwood side of my family is actually a very ancient family in the UK that goes back, it actually directly goes back to 1066, but actually goes beyond that. So, and the Norwoods have Saxon bloodlines, and were at the Magna Carta, went on the Crusades, it's a very old English bloodline, and the fact that it was before William the Conqueror, I didn't understand quite what that meant in terms of, you know, the Viking and the Saxon, those energies, and also just the various missions. I mean, the actual like family crest and motto is under it's under Sub Cruce Vince, which is under the cross we conquer. And so that coat of arms was given to my family. I'm going on the crusades with Richard the Lionheart and fighting, you know, with the Knights Templar. And so there is already some Grail energy and Grail connection with the Knights Templar on my mother's side. And what happened was, the father that brought me up was actually not my blood father, and I didn't find that out till very late. And there's a whole reason why, but we won't go into that. But suffice to say, when I was in about 20 and I was at university, and actually, funnily enough, I was studying comparative religion. So I have a degree in comparative religion where I was studying ancient Egypt, all the isms, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism. So totally by chance, I started studying fashion. I didn't like it. I was experimenting with a lot of hallucinogens and mushrooms and expanding my mind. So I decided that wasn't for me, and I changed to comparative religion. And I actually did my dissertation was what is the significance of ritual and ecstatic dance in religion. So it was about how as through dance, whether it's the whirling dervish, whether it's sacred Tibetan dance, in dance, you're directly connected to the divine. You are mimicking the planets, but you're actually, you know, that space between earth and heaven as you dance, and as you're, you know, matching the dance of the cosmos, the dance of the spiral dance, the dance of the universe. It's universal energy. So anyway, I was studying that and expanding my mind, and I suddenly like looked at myself on meditation. I was like, I just made the connection that my father that brought me up wasn't my real father. And I actually confronted my mother. I said, look, when are you going to tell me about the postman, as a joke? And then she just like broke down in tears and was like, oh, I've been waiting, you know, it's been so hard. I couldn't tell you, but I can tell you now. Your father isn't your real father. And I was just like, okay, you're kidding here. Okay, what's going on? And but in a way, in that moment, like, it was so important in terms of my journey, because at that moment, my whole life, a bit like, I suppose, when I was watching some of your films about walk-ins, at that moment, my whole life was just like, oh my God, what's real, what's not real? It's an ego death. It's like, okay. And I was only 20, and my mother said, no, your father is actually, his name is Yahya Tej, and your biological father is Yahya Tej, and he's from Tunisia. And so at that point, I was, you know, I was incredibly shocked, but I was also quite angry, and I kind of went on a bit of a, I suppose I just was angry at the world and didn't really understand. But at that point, I kind of was doing a lot of experimentation with LSD, and that was a point where I was actually connecting. What I didn't know is I was switching on all of my Ascension codes, but not knowing it when I was in my 20s. And so at that point, I was connecting with my star family, and I was getting these massive downloads because I'd opened up my channels, but obviously it wasn't controlled. And that was the first time I really connected with my star family and my, you know, and I actually asked them, I said, look, if all this information you're giving me, it was so much that I couldn't really handle it. And I said, I need proof. Okay. So I actually, and this is documented, I actually, you know, I had taken a lot of LSD, but I actually stepped off. I was at home with my mother. I hadn't slept for days, and I actually stepped off the roof of our house and was stepping onto a ship. So basically, I was actually communicating with my star family, with, as far as I'm aware, it was my Andromedan family. And I said, I need proof. And the next thing I know is I've landed impossible distance. And actually I've had a guide friend of mine tell me that I was actually taken by my star family and deposited in another part of the garden. So I went through this portal, and I was perfectly fine. And I came into the kitchen to my mother, just like crying, just going, I'm alive, and not understanding what had just happened. But what had happened was I had just basically, my star family had connected to me, and they had put me down, and it was an impossible distance of how far I jumped. And so anyway, I duly ended up in a psychiatric ward for 2 weeks because, of course, I'd taken a lot of LSD, and of course they all thought that but for me it wasn't about that. It was about downloads, about New Earth, about the golden age, about moving in back, and they were giving me all this information. But of course, at that point, people think, it's a messianic complex, it's delusions of grandeur. I'd been switched on inadvertently. But when you measured the distance of where I jumped off the building into the ship, as far as I was concerned, I was stepping into this light ship. It was an impossible distance. It was like 30 meters. There's no way physically. And it's never been explained, but I don't need it to be explained. For me, it was the first moment where I got all this downloaded information about New Earth and about interdimensional communication, galactic communication. But obviously it wasn't in a controlled situation because, of course, I was, under a lot of hallucinogens. Anyway, so I kind of came through that, and I think for my 20s, I was quite confused and had a lot of depression as I was trying to assimilate all this information. And then but at the same time was holding on to all that information. But when I went to live in the States, I was living in Miami, and I started doing Reiki, and I was working in the hospitality industry, but I started my Reiki journey, and started kind of working with kind of energies, understanding about Wicca and the seasons and the various pagan gods and goddesses, and just connecting into that spiritual energy. But it wasn't really until a bit later that I had the kind of next things kicked on in terms of my starseed awakening and really, yeah. So I suppose it was coming up to connecting with, I'm just trying to think, was it? Yeah, so it was with Katie Jane Wright. So I think it was just before COVID, and I had heard this amazing teacher, my crystal teacher, Katie Jane Wright. I'd heard her speak, and we were down in France going along, the kind of Grail path, and I heard her speaking. Actually, before we jump into her, let me cut back to this lady here behind Tanit and Esvedra. So 2017 this was, and I had a mystical encounter with this rock, which in Ibiza, and I basically was on a stag party, but we were taken out to this sacred rock, which is actually what I realized is a galactic hub, and it also has the large crystals of Atlantis underneath it and a crystalline temple within it, and it's kind of dormant, but I didn't know that at the time, and it's being switched on as the crystalline grids are being switched on, but as we were going out towards this sacred rock, which represents the goddess Tanit, who is a goddess who is a Phoenician goddess, but she's connected to the Egyptians and the Anunnaki and the Sirians. It's very much a Sirian line. And as we were driving out, I was meditating on the front of the boat, and the guy driving the boat said, "When we get to the island, we want you to touch the rock." And I said, "Well, there's 12 people on this boat. Why do you want me to touch the rock?" And he just said, through translation, the island wants your energy, the rock wants your energy. And so what happened when we got to the island of the rock, I basically just went into pure meditative state, and I touched the rock, and my intention, and this is what's so important about all of our journeys, is the intention and how we are living keys, we are living light keys, and our intention behind everything we do is infinite, and it's indestructible energy, and it's absolutely a kind of living light manifestation. So I just touched, but I still didn't know that, because I wasn't aware of my role or anything at this point, or my past lives or anything. So I just touched the rock, and as I did, it was like all my timelines converged, and it was like shuffling a pack of cards. And every single timeline. And my intention as I touched the rock was actually just to reset to the golden age, just to bring us all back to one, to bring us into unity consciousness. And as I did that, I was like shuffling. It's like all my timelines, all my past lives, all just came into line. And I just heard this really loud voice. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, Tanit is a Sirian, you know, she's a Sirian goddess or being, galactic being, but connected, you know, through Atlantis, Lemuria, through the Anunnaki, through, you know, the creator beings that help grid and blueprint the crystalline grids on Earth. And all I heard was this voice saying, you must purify, really loud. And so I said to everyone, we went to this restaurant afterwards, I said to everyone that what had happened. They were all laughing at me because it was a bachelor party, you know, they were just like laughing at me. And I said, you know, as of today, this is my last drink and my last recreational drugs. I've got to clean my system so that I can raise my vibration. And they were just laughing at me, you know. And that evening we went to this club called Destino, which means destiny. And this lady came up to me and she touched my arm, and I just looked at her and I just said telepathically, I said, hello, Tanit. And she telepathically looked at me and said, hello, Alex. And it was just this moment of connecting. For me, it was a manifestation of this Syrian Phoenician goddess in human form. And the frequency when she touched my hand, it was just like, it was just pure bliss and just pure unconditional love. And her golden hair, and she was wearing a fish scale jacket, because this island Esvedra is connected to Atlantis, it's connected to Lemuria, it's connected to Odysseus and his journey in the Odyssey and the Sirens, and it's the third most magnetic point of the Earth. And so it is a massive key, and it's a galactic hub as well. So, and she just looked at me and I said, she said, oh, you've had a good day today, haven't you? And I said, yes. And she said, where have you been? And I said, oh, I think I've been to Atlantis. And she looked at me and she said, you have? And I was like, what? And she's like, how did you get there? And I said, oh, I went by boat. And she said, no, you didn't. She said, you walked there. And that was this riddle that was left with. And I was just like, did I? And I think there's two things. What she meant is when you come into the energy of Ibiza, it's an energy field. It's a galactic hub. It's a galactic energy field. It is that Atlantis frequency, but it's also, she said, you walked here because that is the path. That is the hero's journey. That is the journey we are all on this ascension path as living light keys, as galactics, as starseeds, as whatever we identify as, we are all on that path to that self-awakening, that awakening, that realization, that enlightenment journey, that ascension journey. Yes, you know. So I went to I said goodbye to her, and I sat in the lobby of this, so it said Destiny, and I was just about to walk through the door, and I realized that I had quite a lot of like drugs in my pocket. So I went and flushed them down the toilet. I'm like, right, I'm going clean. I'm kind of moving into this next chapter. Like that's behind. I flushed them down. You know, I wasn't very popular, but you know, it was a real moment. And from that moment on, I got sober. I started doing more Reiki. I then did an angelic Reiki course, which I think it was Kevin and Christine course set up angelic Reiki. It was downloaded. Reiki, obviously we know Usui Reiki. Angelic Reiki was downloaded by Archangel Metatron to Kevin and Christine Core, with Kevin Core. If you've never heard of angelic Reiki, do look it up. There's an international federation. What's so beautiful about angelic Reiki is that your teacher, you get the attunements from the angels, and you're actually taken in a Merkaba during the practice, during the training. You're taken to the angelic kingdom, and Metatron and Archangel Michael, and you're there, and you can see it's like, you know, it's like almost like, you know, the Wizard of Oz type thing, where you can just, this giant palace, and you're there in the angelic realm. And the frequencies are so beautiful and so divine, and you're being given the actual attunements by the angels. It's just like, and what's so lovely about angelic Reiki is that as a practitioner, you never give the healing, you hold space, and whoever's you're healing, their angels and their guides, and they can be galactic guides as well. They can be emissaries of light. They can be, you know, it's not just angelic. It's ascended masters. It's galactics. It's, you know, Starseed, star family. So and actually there is one of the healing modalities, you call in the galactic. It's called the galactic healer, and it's really powerful. And the galactic healer comes in and does the healing on the person. So that was incredibly profound, like understanding about multidimensional healing, you know, and that kind of thing for me. And then, yeah, as I said in my bio and my story about what I was going to talk about, once I had kind of been switched on, firstly when I was in my 20s, and I was discovering all about spirituality and paganism and the pantheon of different religions and different gods and different, you know, doing it. When I was 13, we lived with Buddhists in Colorado, you know, with around kind of Ram Dass and that kind of people. And so there was always a kind of spirituality thing going on. But then it was having the mystical experience and connecting with this kind of Sirian divine goddess in Ibiza just switched everything up a notch. And as I was starting to purify and not drinking, raising my vibration, it then became like a bit like a human mystery school where everything, I was so inquisitive, and every person or thing that was on my path would have a gift or something for me. It was a bit like you know, like Lara Croft Tomb Raider or something. It's like every experience and everything switched something on or gave a new frequency or a new healing gift or a new understanding. And so yes, that was just before COVID. I was on the kind of Grail path down in the south of France where we have a house, and I listened to a podcast with this amazing healer called Katie Jane Wright, and she's a very well respected and well known crystal healer around the world. She's written a load of books. And I just heard her voice and something just like went off, and I was like, oh my God, I've got to find this woman. And it turns out we are actually connected. We had lives in Atlantis. We were keepers of the Temple of Poseidon, where the 13 crystalline skulls are. These are like the skulls that are connected to the crystalline grids and really were the kind of power behind Atlantis, really, because they held all the knowledge, and they were the wisdom keepers, and also were the portals to the other dimensions, and were just holding the frequency, holding the whole of Atlantis in equilibrium. And you had to have a certain frequency and a certain you know, initiations to be able to work in the temple. I mean, there were lots of different temples, but the Temple of Poseidon is the one where the crystalline skulls are, and it's incredibly beautiful and powerful. So when I heard her voice, I tracked her down and I went and had a one-to-one healing with her, and a bit like with what Bridget does with BQH, I was taken on a journey, and she was speaking light language through it all, and then it was just like we were off. She's like, we're going to go to play. There was a crystalline grid set out with the most beautiful crystals. I mean, I've got one here, which like, this is one of hers. This is a Lemurian, beautiful Lemurian crystal, which is so beautiful, and it's a Brazilian Lemurian. But they were all set out on the grid, and off we went, and we went to my lives all the way. And as she was taking me, I could see each one of the lives, and I could see myself in the 1600s, and then I could see myself around the time of Eshua's, you know, the resurrection, and around and I was helping grid. She was showing me that I was gridding the resurrection cave, and I was gridding other different things. And then she took me back to Egypt, where I was protecting certain sacred scrolls, and I was, you know, and seeing different lives and deaths in Egypt, and my connection to Egypt, and how that was linked from there to Atlantis. Then she took me through Atlantis. And then from Atlantis to Lemuria, then the Dogon tribe, which was connected to Sirius. And then from there, she took me to Pleiades. Then she took me to my Pleiadean family, and I met my Pleiadean family. Then she took me to Andromeda, and then Lyra, and then the Auroran Stargate. And so she literally, I mean, it was, I mean, the frequencies, I've got a recording of it, and I you know, I think one day I will make it available to everyone who wants to hear it. But it's so beautiful. I think Bridget's heard it. because it was such a clear line of my star lineage and the different lives, and it was, I felt like I was just coming home. And there was one moment where I actually saw, and this happened with Bridget before, I actually saw what she was describing before she described it. And she took me into this beautiful sacred temple beneath the Sphinx in the Sphinx's paw in Egypt. And there was this beautiful dome, and above the dome, I'm taking you there. So if you want to, you know, as Bridget said, if you want to come with me, you can come with me now. So just to the right of the Sphinx's paw, there's a secret doorway, and the doorway opens, and then it's taken down into these beautiful like corridors, and then it opens out into this kind of temple. It's like a temple, an underground temple, but there is a dome, and there's it goes up to the sun, so the sun comes straight down. It's really beautiful. It's like an inner temple, but it has an access directly to the great sun, which is what a lot of these temples do, and a lot of these, you know, the pyramids do. They've got this like special chambers and places that link to different stars and different, because it's all they're all, you know, connected to our star families and to these different galaxies, and it's that leftover kind of Atlantean technology. So anyway, so I'm there, and there is Master Eshua. There's El Moira, who was Jesus's teacher, Eshua's teacher, and Saint Germain in a triangle, and I'm in the middle, and they are doing activations on me. And she said, and now Master Saint Germain is going to give you the violet flame. And so I was being received this violet flame activation, and just as they were doing it, it was so beautiful, and I was just like there and just receiving these downloads, receiving these gifts, and suddenly the violet just turned into rainbow color, and it was just like, and the whole of my aura just went into rainbow. All the chakras I switched on into rainbow, and the rainbow ray, and I just saw it. And then she says, oh, it's changing. She said it's going from the violet flame into the rainbow ray. She said they're giving you the rainbow ray because this is the ray of ascension, and this is for you to carry and protect and to use in your healing and to activate. So it was a really beautiful, I mean, I didn't really understand it at the time, but obviously as time has gone on, that whole journey with her, where I was shown all my different lives, and then taking me back, she goes, oh, you're a blueprinter. And it's just like, well, what's a blueprinter? Well, you helped create this, the blueprints and the grids of this earth in your early incarnations, and not just here, but in other timelines, dimensions, planets, galaxies, So it's a lot to take on board at that point. It was a bit like, okay, it's like, jumping around to different galaxies and meeting all these amazing characters along the way. But it felt like coming home, and particularly like going to Andromeda and Sirius and these beautiful places, and just feeling such an affinity, and just feeling such comfort and such like, okay, and then realizing that, okay, I've chosen this mission, obviously from I chose this mission to be here now. This is and doing some work in the Akashic records as well. It was confirmed to me. It's like, yeah, this is, we're all of us actually here are here for this ascension process. We're all sacred keys for this time. And I asked what my role was, and they said, yeah, you're an ascension activator. You activate planets, races, dimensions with these keys, codes, and frequencies of ascension, of unconditional love, enlightenment, and ascension. And so yeah, that was really beautiful with Katie Jane, and so then I dived more into my crystal healing, and then I actually, just before COVID, went out to and at that point things were started to happen really quickly in terms of the beautiful people that were coming my way to assist on my journey, and I ended up going out to Bulgaria. With an ally of mine. He's what I call another Rainbow Phoenix warrior, I call, who is a soul brother, and also it turns out we shared lives in Avalon, as kind of part of the Arcturian Knights of the Round Table, and Grail keepers and protectors of the Grail, which is the Grail is obviously the bloodline of Escher and Mary Magdalene, and all of those, that energetically the bloodline, not just the actual bloodline, but those who are, those keepers of that wisdom and those soul lines, and they are star lines. They are lines that go back to Sirius and go back to the Pleiades and Andromeda. And so it's all very much intertwined with our galactic family. So so I went with him skiing. We went snowboarding to this beautiful range of mountains called the Seven Lakes in Bulgaria, and I'd never really heard of it. Anyway, when we were actually in a place called Borovitz, but he said, "Oh, there's great powder at the Seven Lakes. Let's go there." And as we got there, the frequencies, the energies just felt so amazing. It's just like, a bit like you probably get when you go to Mount Shasta or when you go to Sedona. It's just like, whoa, what's going on? And as we were approaching this range of mountains, and it's called the Seven Lakes, but there are actually 11 lakes. As we closed our eyes, we could see above it 7 stars, and they were all bright purple, and they were connected with purple light. And we're like, oh my God, that's the Pleiades. And we could just see these 7. We were like on the chairlift going up, and you can only get up to this hotel by chairlift. It's a really old, because Bulgaria, Eastern Europe, rickety chairlift. And as we were going out, I'm going, there's something, and there was a crystal shop at the bottom of the chairlift. It's like, why is there a crystal shop at the bottom of the chairlift? There's something, this is, and anyway, so the guy, when we said to the guys, the locals, what's with the purple light everywhere? And he goes, oh, you want to see this waterfall, the light of the waterfall. So we were like, okay, there's something special about this place. And then, so we went up and stayed in the hotel, and we did a sacred plant medicine ceremony using psilocybin, using mushrooms. And we were basically both had the exact same experience, where we were taken into inner earth, into the mountains of the Seven Lakes, and shown this inner earth city of light. Actually, any way I can describe it. And there were, galactics and star beings from all over the universe, multiverse there. And they were there to give us a DNA upgrade. We went through this sacred portal, which I had been gifted when I went to Ibiza, which is on my wall here. It's a mandala, and it just opened up, and we were just taken into this inner Earth City of Light. I mean, I didn't even know about inner Earth City of Light. I didn't know about Telos or anything. I was just like. But it was so beautiful, and we were given our mission. It was and that's where the Rainbow Phoenix came from, because that was there was my Egyptian family were there, and my star family, and they were like, okay, we're going to protect the inner Earth cities of light. We're going to switch on the grids. We're going to be the Rainbow Phoenix warriors, the Knights of the Rainbow Phoenix, who are effectively carrying on from the Grail keepers, but also the Ascension keepers, the keepers of the wisdom, and sharing, the highest living light and these frequencies of ascension for this moment that we're all going through. So it was really beautiful, and then the next day after, as we were integrating, I was like, I've got to look up what's an inner Earth City of Light, and I, was finding, all these people and Dolores Cannon and this person, that person, and all these books and people from like those, that go to that conscious conference in LA, and all these people and mystics and everything. And then I suddenly said, oh, Mount Shasta, Telos, it's just like, oh, there's an inner Earth city or light or temple at Telos in Mount Shasta. And then it came up with this thing called the Dolphin Star Temple. And I was like, oh, there's a mystery school there called the Dolphin Star Temple. And there was this woman called Amora Kuan Yin, who wrote some amazing books and was channeled to this thing called Pleiadean light work, which is a healing modality. And they do all this, they're an amazing mystery school. So it was like another breadcrumb. It was just like, oh my God, I discovered an inner Earth City of Light, which no one knew about. I was given keys to this sacred portal which connected to the whole universe, and given all these DNA upgrades. And I'm like, okay, I need to understand what it means. You know, what is all this stuff? You know, so I wrote to the Dolphin Star Temple and I said, look, you know, is there anyone in Europe or the UK that can help? And they said, actually, there is. We've got this woman who lives in Holland called Inge van Stralen, who is and she's actually now president of the Dolphin Star Temple, but then she wasn't. And she does all these global meditations, and she does Pleiadean light work. It's a healing modality, a bit like angelic Reiki, but Pleiadean, you know, very, very starseedy. And so she wrote to me, and this was just as COVID was happening, and we started going online, and then we started doing healing on each other. We started traveling in our Merkabas. I took her to the Seven Lakes. She took me to Mount Shasta. She would take me to the Pleiades. I'd take her, you know, so it was like we were just like teaching. She was teaching me all about the Pleiades and the Pleiadian emissaries of light, and this woman, Amora Kwan Yin, who if you look up on YouTube, she's an amazing healer and gifted and channel, and she gave this whole modality from and she's written books about the whole creation of the galaxy, the multiverse, how it all started, who, you know, the kind of Elohim, and the going back to like the first, you know, when the all just broke off into one became two, and then came back to one, and then one became two, and then three and four, and then you know, in the 144, then 144,000, and how the individuation of the universe began. I mean, and then how it's kind of eventually it goes in cycles and returns back to one. So there was so much wisdom and knowledge, and this crystal called Zenora, which is a beautiful giant Namibian crystal, was actually given before she you know, stepped into her next journey, and left this realm. She gave this crystal to Inge. So Inge has got Amora Kwan Yin's crystal, which is called Zenora, and I've got this crystalline skull called Zoltan, which Katie Jane Wright gave me, which I'll just show you here. Hold on. So this is Zoltan. He's a beautiful Lemurian, and he's a wisdom keeper, and he is, you know, stunning, and then connected to the Temple of Poseidon. So yeah, so Inge, it was just that connection, really, and understanding more about my star lineage, understanding about how to work with crystals, how to kind of show up really and just work with these energies. We really helped each other with our modalities, and just became allies. And actually recently we just did this thing called a Galactic activation ceremony in Holland with 30 people, where it was in a beautiful sacred space with a friend of hers who's a ecstatic dance practitioner called Banu Ishtar. And we did this beautiful guided meditation for 30 people called Galactic Activation Ceremony. And we went to the kind of the womb of the universe, the creation heart of the universe, and were given galactic dragon eggs. And it was a really beautiful, you know, ascension kind of activation and guided meditation for this time, not only just for individuals but for the collective. So you had a golden dragon egg, which was your vision and your intention for your ascension journey, and then a rainbow dragon egg for the collective. And these seeds, these eggs, were then planted. They were taken from the galactic womb, brought through you know, the through Sirius and the Pleiades, and then brought down into Earth, and then placed in Gaia, in the star crystal of Gaia, to kind of really anchor, which is, I think, for me, is what Ascension is all about, is anchoring these frequencies in the 3D, bringing them down into the physical, coming down onto Earth. It's great to be up there and flying around and having a wonderful time, but we're here to anchor this multidimensionality, this real ascension moment, where we become one with everything in unity consciousness. And then finally, just to bring it to the present, was then getting on Clubhouse, and just before I kind of go on to that, this is the liquid. This is the Ascension liquid that I make, and this is what we used in our ceremony, and this is what we'll use on our pilgrimage. So it's a bitter, because obviously I don't drink. It's a bittersweet aperitif. It's made with alcohol-free bitters and a gentian syrup from France. Gentian is like a bitter root. It's like what they make Angostura with. And once I've mixed it, I get it from a distillery in France and from a place in California. The bitters come from California. And then once I've got it, I then go into my practice where I will go into deep ceremony for 2 to 3 hours. And it's a bit like a Reiki treatment, but actually I'm working with the liquid and the crystals. And then my guides come in and they put in all the frequencies and the symbols and the galactic energy and whatever is required, so that whoever drinks it, it will give them the frequencies they need for their ascension journey. So it's not like it's going to blast you because it's such high frequency. The intention and what it does is wherever you are on your journey, it gives you exactly what you need. So it will clear out anything that you don't need in your aura field, in your chakras. It will bring unconditional love, diamond rainbow light, ascension, enlightenment codes, whatever you need on your journey. It will give you. So it's really beautiful, and that was kind of channeled to me by my team, really, to say you need to make this because this is actually going to help, because it will speed up the process of ascension, because whoever drinks it, it will get them onto their highest timeline in a beautiful, gentle way without, it won't be jarring, it won't be a shock, it will be really just whatever they need. So yeah, so that's fun. And I'm kind of like enjoying sharing that. And then getting onto Clubhouse, meeting Bridget, obviously meeting Stephanie Lodge. I used to do Magdalene Mastery, which was my first kind of foray into, and I saw, actually, funny enough, doing my homework, I saw the wonderful film that you did, Sheila, with the Hug Angel with Stephanie Lodge. So that was I learned a lot, working with Stephanie. She's so amazing, and her Halo method and the keys, she's an incredible, inspirational leader in our community, and as you are, and Bridget, and as we all are. But it was a great grounding into how to hold space with groups, how to lead meditations, and our frequencies work really well together. And then I met Bridget on Awaken Ascending, and just really, I did a BQH session with her, which was incredibly profound, because we realized that we are actually kind of brother and sister, or sister and sister, I think, in Andromeda. And I had that was another affirmation of my Andromedan creator self, and just I work with that Andromedan energies, and yeah, just so beautiful, and have received so many gifts and so much from that experience, and then working with Awaken Ascending and Ascension Catalysts. So that kind of brings me to where I am now, which is just about to lead this incredible pilgrimage to the sacred sites of the UK. But I kind of feel like it just feels right now that having had all that apprenticeship, holding space and working with, Stephanie and Inga and Bridget, and it's like now, and we've done a few pilgrimages to sacred sites, but now we're ready to actually, call in those that are ready to receive the keys, codes, and frequencies that we've been gifted, and for them to allow them to step in as their own ascension activators, their own wisdom keepers, and living light keys. So it feels like the time is now. The response has been wonderful. So yeah, it's exciting. So that
wow. Wow. So I have a ton of questions, but I'm going to narrow it down to a few. Well, first off, I love Homo Galactica. I love that. I love it. The other thing is, you mentioned your vision in your 20s for New Earth. I was wondering if you could share that with us real quick.
Certainly. I just basically was, I had I basically started a cult pretty much. I mean, that's the only way I can kind of describe it, because of my energy, and because I was so like, because I found out that my dad wasn't my real dad. And I did actually, just to tell you a bit, I did actually track down my North Tunisian dad, and I met him, and he actually lived in Canada, but I went back to Tunisia. And Tunisia is, it was where Carthage was. This goddess, this Tanit, was the goddess of Tunisia, of Carthage. So that's why I have that connection to her, and also connected back to Egypt as well. And so those bloodlines, I've got those, the Berber, the mystics of those. So it's like, this kind of, this, I was conceived in the desert, I was this, child of passion and love. And so it's kind of like, yeah, just there's an energy that's comes through that. But I was angry, and I was just like, F you to the world. So I was like, right. And I was just, my consciousness was just expanding. It was a kind of, Timothy Leary moment, Ram Dass, I was just out there, and I started making a film. And talk about an identity crisis and a cry for help. I was making a film in London, and I was going around, I was taking these very pure microdots, this very pure LSD. And the film I was making was called Who Am I? I mean, that's a cry for help, if ever there was. But it was actually, I was entering these states of consciousness where I was just in unity consciousness. And I suddenly was like, what are we all doing? We need to just forget about money. We need to think about, it's about love. It's about creating community. It's about tribe. It's about, and so I was just going around, and I just received my student loan. So I suddenly had all this cash, and I was just like, if you need money, brother, here, it's just, I was giving people money, and I was just like, no, we're gonna, this is, we are gonna create new earth. This is, I wanted to throw this huge party. So I was going to these record stores, and I said, look, don't worry about the money that's coming, but we're going to create this thing, and it's going to be incredible, and everyone's going to come, and it's going to set everything, this new earth, this new project. And I did have the kind of what I call the Jesus eyes, where everyone was just like, I was so high, I was so convincing, I was so focused. Everyone was just like, yeah, man, I'm on board. Count me. I was just going around London, giving people my cards, going, cool, right, you're involved. I'm gonna, I was out there where the trains don't run. But at the same time, the vision was the vision of New Earth, which is stepping into unity consciousness, stepping into unconditional love, acting through love, realizing that we're all one. So if we're all one, if that's what we are, then work back from there. It's just like, okay, if we're all one, then we can work this out, and we can create something that's in harmony, and that we're in harmony with the universe. Because that is what I've since discovered in my meditations, is that the currency, but not just the currency, the coding of the universe is infinite unconditional love. That is the key that unlocks everything. So if you're coming from a place of unconditional love, you will always be in, but not just unconditional love. It's like the double heart, but it's the double heart with an infinity. So you've got a double heart, and that's this thing that I'm working with, which I was gifted by my guides recently, which is this thing called the Galactic Pearl. And that's what we're going to be. There's going to be this activation and gift on our pilgrimage, is the Galactic Pearl. And the codes and keys of the Galactic Pearl are incredibly potent, and they are the Galactic Pearl is in all of us. It just needs to be switched on. And that is that moment where every cell is fully in full ascension mode, is in its highest timeline, its highest frequency. Every single part of DNA is switched into its full galactic ascension unity consciousness, where you literally have plugged into the whole galactic universal grid and any thought, you're just plucking any information you want. You're fully in unconditional love. There is no fear. So it's working back from that, really. But I didn't know at the time. I was just a crazy man on a mission with taking a lot of LSD.
Alex, every time you talk about accidentally starting a cult, I think of when I first got on Clubhouse. My husband Scott would be like, you are not starting a cult, because he did not understand what was happening. All these people in the space at first. And I'm like, baby, I'm not starting a cult. Nobody wants to be on any pedestals here. We're good. It's so funny.
Yeah. I had this whole little crew that were just like yeah, this is great. And then obviously, then I kind of didn't sleep for 5 days and jumped off a building and survived. And kind of, and it's like, okay,
Oh my
maybe
gosh.
I need to rethink this. And the thing is, it was quite brutal because obviously, when I arrived at the psychiatric ward, I thought I was in a galactic base. I thought I was in a
Oh my
mirror.
gosh.
I was in a galactic base, and then they hit me with the lithium and the chlorpromazine, and then I was like, okay, this is not a galactic base. This is a psychiatric ward in Coventry. So
That's not funny, but it is hilarious.
Well, Alex might have been on some other level. You never know, right?
but it was a
That's right.
galactic
You
base.
don't know.
It was a galactic base because Earth is in the galaxy. We are Homo Galactic. This is what we need to reframe our reference because we are the galactics. We are in the
Yes.
galaxy. And
Yes.
that's the thing.
Agreed.
It's just like
Yes.
switch your perception, you know?
I
Yes.
have
Agreed.
I have another quick question about your elixir. Now, do you have a website and you sell that? Because I'm sure people are going to be very curious about it.
Yes, so you can, I think it's cordusdrinks.com, and I'm literally about to do my first like proper, I mean, I have done small batches, but I've just spoken to my supplier and I'm going to do like a batch of 120. So yeah, if you want to reach out to me, it's cordusdrinks.com, or just go to my link tree. And yeah.
And can you spell that for the people who
So
are listening to us?
it's Cordus, Cordus Drinks, DRINKS.com. So, yeah,
Okay, save me one.
I will definitely. And yeah, well, I'll when I release the batch, I'll send it to your network and then you can spread it around. But I'm excited. I mean, it's everything is divine timing, and I think it was perfect because I know when I was going to come on before. I think now I'm in a different place in terms of frequency and just with the pilgrimage and everything that's come about, having done the galactic activation ceremony in Holland, which was a great success. I feel like yeah, everything is just unfolding as it's supposed to. It's really a really nice kind of alignment.
Yeah,
Yes.
a month or so ago, we had Jerome on, and Jerome was talking about the Ormus. And there are so many, high frequency products out there right now to help clear and fortify and tonify, our physical beings so that we can really hold and anchor in these frequencies. So this is exciting. Yay. Another good product.
It is. It is. No, I love it, and I love the how it came about, and that it, I was looking for an alcohol-free drink in France where we have a house, and I found this this it's using this root, this gentian root. They make a spirit like a fire water 40%, and then I found a non-alcoholic version. I was like, hallelujah, because it's so tasty and it's really like viscous and just like luxurious. And then I found some alcohol-free bitters through my friends and in California. And then it's just like as my healing journey and my kind of like star journey, awakening journey, I just keep getting told, okay, so the next one I'm about to go this weekend. I'm doing an alcohol-free bar at this thing called Three Wishes, which is a fairy festival at Glastonbury. So I'm going to, so it's called Three Wishes. Look it up, Three Wishes Festival. It's a fairy festival for about 1,000 people. They're all dressed as elves and fairies, and
I want to come.
I know, me too.
I have amazing wings I can bring.
Maybe we could use the wings and fly over there.
I'm taking you with me, Sheila. We're
There
going.
you go.
definitely report back. But so I'm taking spring water from sacred spring. So I'm making these cocktails with my drink, which is activating anyway. But what I'm doing, which I've done at this place called Fire and Alchemy in London, where I match the drink to a crystal. So I might use rose quartz, and so I'll use some rose essence. So I use the spirit, you're working with the plant spirit and the rose essence. and then I put the intention into what, okay, that's opening up the heart chakra, unconditional love, you know, it's a love potion. And then what I will do is I'm attune the crystal to the sacred spring water. So I'm going to go and get water from the chalice well. I'm going to take that water, I'm going to grid that water with the crystals, okay, and then I'm going to activate it. So it's going to be properly structured and activated. So whoever drinks it, plus the cordis to amplify it, you know, they might just ascend, they might just disappear. No, but the whole idea is that, and I was channeling my friend and ally Karen, who I can't wait for you guys to meet. She's called Indigo Sacred Creations. She makes beautiful pieces, and I've got one here. This is one I got given this in Ibiza, but this is my Eye of Horus piece. But these beads that are all hand selected, so they're really beautiful. And she's doing a sacred rites pilgrimage at the sacred rites blessing and healings at the chalice well, and she's coming on the pilgrimage. But she said to me, why don't you make a version of cordis but using blue lotus and using amethyst and the violet flame. So I'm going to make a version that is just, because obviously normally it's made with the rainbow flame and the rainbow ray. So it's got all of them, but I'm going to make a version that's going to be the color violet, and it's going to be made with the blue lotus, and it's going to be made with just the violet flame, and it's going to be a violet flame elixir. So I'm excited. I'm making that tomorrow. So.
I want to come to the UK right now, Alex. I'll be there in a minute. I'm going to portal over. I keep waiting to portal. I'm like, we can do this. We can do this. Not yet, but we can.
Well, just don't do like I did. I did this thing. It's like, I know I can just walk through walls. I can feel it. I know it. I can walk through the walls. Mm-hmm. Bam, right up against the wall.
Right into the wall.
But you know, Kiara Wind Rider actually has had the experience of walking through walls, so it is possible.
Yeah. There's a whole place in Peru that they used to, back in the day, like the 90s, 2000s, that metaphysical paranormal college they had there, they were practicing that avidly. And one of the things they used to teach people was, do not remember the wall when you're going through, or it's not going to end well. I had a friend that actually I met in my wild days. Alex talked about his. When I was in my wild days, I met a friend that had actually spent time in that school, and that was not one of the things they were practicing. But yeah, it was something that the whole school knew about, that everybody was talking about. Alex, this has been so fun, and you and Sheila together right now, this is my happy place. Sheila and Alex, Andromeda and family. Yes, Alex is my sister in Andromeda, and it was really funny. We both got a big chuckle on, after we found that out. But it was like, that makes so much sense. And actually, there have been a number of times when I connect in with the Andromeda Council, that she is the one that answers me. So I didn't realize that that's Alex until after his session, right? Which was amazing. And I have to say, I had the most amazing, we sort of did an exchange. The journey that Alex took me on, it's where I realized that I am carrying some major Hathorian frequencies. And I had no idea. I mean, I know I was close to a lot of the Venusians, but I mean, the connection that I had with a lot of the beings, but I mean, Kuan Yin came in first, but then it was Isis, and I don't remember who the other one was, but the way, or it was Hathor, the way everything happened in that, I was like, they told me we were sisters. And I don't know if it means like the way we think of it here, but for me, it very much came off as, sisters in frequency, like share that sort of thing. But yeah, we went to an amazing like pyramid of light, and Alex is amazing. If you guys definitely check out his link tree. I know he's been working on a website for like a million years. So So he'll get a 10 one day.
Coming.
Awesome.
What I will say as well is actually there are, because we're taking it on is talking about you coming to the UK on the pilgrimage, which is the 20th to the 26th of September. We're only taking 10 pilgrims, and there are still 2 spots. So if you watch this, come on, Bridget. So if you feel called, if you've watched this and you feel called, just go on my link tree. It's the top of my link tree, and reach out and we can talk about it. Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Now I know Susie has a song for us. I'm going to have her. We have had such a phenomenal time, and I've let time escape. We are out of time, so we don't have time for any questions because I had to have mine answered. But Susie, go ahead. She's prepared a song for us.
Hey, Bridget said in her wild days, don't you think these are her wild days, Sheila?
Oh no, Susie, you have no idea. I was such a wild one.
Okay, this is from Princess and the Frog. It don't matter what we look like, doesn't even matter what we wear. How many fingers, we don't care. No, we don't care. Doesn't matter what we come from, doesn't even matter who we are. Arcturian, Pleiadean, Andromeda, we had them all in here, and they all knew what they wanted, and they wanted me to do. Told them what they needed, just like I'd be telling you. We gotta dig, dig, dig a little deeper, find out who we are. We gotta dig, dig, dig a little deeper. We ain't dug near that far. When we find out who we are, find out what we need. Blue skies and sunshine guaranteed. We gotta dig, we gotta dig, we gotta dig, dig, dig a little deeper. Don't have far to go. We gotta dig, dig, dig a little deeper. Tell the people, Susie, don't you so. Can't tell you what to find. Maybe you'll find peace of mind. Dig a little deeper and you'll know. Blue skies and sunshine, blue skies and sunshine, blue skies and sunshine guaranteed.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Susie.
Love tonight.
We love you, Susie. That was amazing. Thank you.
As always, so fun. So, Alex, it was awesome to have you here tonight. Do you have any final words for people?
Well, firstly, just immense gratitude, and just want to thank you so much, Sheila. I'm so great. It was so great to connect finally, and it was just wonderful. Everyone that was here, you're all amazing. Thank you, Bridget. Yeah, just be the light, be the change you want to see. Just shine so bright, and just know that, you know, the latest thing that I downloaded, I got was there are no accidents. It is all written. The thing is unfolding as it's supposed to, in perfection, and everything is energy. Just put your finger into that energy field, and you can connect to anything you want to. And if you want to connect to, you know, the highest living light, the most beautiful divine love, epiphanies, you know, you are the creator of your reality. You are the author of this story, and you have got this. You chose to be here now. This is the greatest show on earth. This is the most exciting time. This has never happened before. This like mass consciousness event that's going on, this mass awakening. This is what we're here for, and this is the leading edge of it. So congratulations. Just pat yourselves on the back, give yourself a massive hug, and just know that you've got this, and you're amazing, and I love you.
Beautiful.
I love you too.
Thank you. And Bridget, how about you, honey? Have you got any final words?
I just want to say thank you to everyone who is joining us here and who is listening. And yeah, I can see a lot of our Ascension Catalyst family in the chat. So love you guys. Thank you for being here. A lot of our Conscious Awakening Network family. And Alex, this was really beautiful, and I'm excited to see more. I'm excited to see what happens next. And you guys just ride the wave like a surfer. You've got this. Choose where you want to focus and surf the waves. It's a beautiful time, but it's also a really intense time for the world. So the more we can anchor the light, our own light codes, and that vast knowledge and wisdom of our soul, the more we ripple out into the collective. So yeah, bring the harmony, people. Bring the harmony as often as possible, and the unity.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you both so much. It was so fun to have you here, Alex. We'll definitely have to get you back. Bridget, it's always a pleasure to have you. Everybody here who's watching us, listening to us, catching us on replays, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And I appreciate all the kind comments and emails that I get from you. Thank you so much. It really touches my heart. So everybody, you've been listening and watching the Cosmic Conversations on Conscious Awakening Network. Remember to check us out on the replays on any of our 40 platforms on the Conscious Awakening Network. So until we're back together again, namaste, everyone. Have a beautiful week and much love. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.